Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis, me once again. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw. This time it is going to be on Captain America, A Brave New World. Now, this movie does not have Steve Rogers. Instead, it focuses on the new Captain America, Sam Wilson, who finds himself in the middle of an international incident and must discover the motive behind a nefarious global plan. And not only does it focus on him, but it also focuses on the president, played by Harrison Ford. Now, I had very little interest in this new Captain America film, not just due to the fact that Steve Rogers wasn't going to be in the movie because Chris Evans mentioned how he was completely done with it, which I think is probably for the best. So the fact that they're still trying to introduce us to new characters to the MCU, despite the fact that, the MCU, many people have said this, should have just ended with Endgame. Now, of course, many people agreed that No Way Home was fantastic, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 I also thought was great. Deadpool and Wolverine I had a lot of fun with, but it's just gotten to the point to why continue it with, the fact that, Endgame was a great conclusion, and we're already getting 2 more Avengers movies, despite most of the cast not even gonna fully return. Especially with what happened with Iron Man and Captain America, it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But I can say I was willing to see where it would go with adding in a new Captain America, as I do think Sam Wilson is a likable enough new lead to wielding the shield. Now look, I haven't seen all the Marvel, TV shows that are on Disney Plus. I feel like the biggest one I probably should have watched was Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because that would make the most sense when it comes to, this specific film. But the reason why I skip out on these is because it's just way too much. Like, there has to be a new Disney Plus show for the MCU now. Ever since Disney Plus became a thing, in order to bring more of it in, they were just all like, hey, let's add all these TV shows that are very much canon to the MCU. It's best to watch these before watching the new film. I just feel like it's just way too much. And yes, my cat is trying to give me a high five. High five, Lecter. And I would just rather watch a franchise of movies that just have movies. And I do. I skip out on the Disney Plus shows because it's just way too much for me to handle, because I'm always busy with other things, video games, other movies. So I feel like, yes, it probably would be best for me if I did watch those shows, but I didn't. I'm not sure if it would make me like the movie more, because honestly, I didn't really have too much of a blast with this one. I don't know if it's just due to the fact that I myself am kind of getting tired with Marvel, because there was a time where we were all like, oh yes, new Marvel movie, oh this is going to be incredible, yes, now look, I didn't expect this movie to be incredible by any means. I expected it to be a decent enough fun time at the movies, but for me, there was just stuff about this movie that I feel like was truly lacking. Now, I appreciate the movie for being far more serious, because it is definitely one of the more serious MCU films to come out recently. And I will say this, Harrison Ford is great. I thought his character, in my opinion, was probably the best part. And yes, I am aware that we have Red Hulk. And yes, that should be exciting, despite the fact that the CGI obviously is not very convincing. It's something that we kind of have to get used to, because it's never going to be convincing. And while the action sequence with that is fun, it's kind of lacking, as the movie is very slow moving. And it honestly felt a lot more like a crime thriller, which I appreciated for trying to do. But when it comes to the investigation and all that, you know exactly where things are going to go. And it just kind of made me wish I was watching another crime thriller. So yeah, I definitely appreciate it for, not having humor thrown into your face every 5 minutes. But even when it does sprinkle in little bits of humor, there's a moment to the movie where it adds like this emotional speech or whatever. And then the guy's all like, how was that? Was that any good? Or should I work on it more? Just like, dude, just what are you trying to do here? Are you trying to, sprinkle in those elements to add in more to make it feel like it's, supposed to be that fun MCU film? Because while there is some good action sequences in here, and it is slightly less than 2 hours long, I appreciate it for not going overly long. I just feel like there was just stuff missing. As much as I think Sam Wilson has a lot to live up to, and does have, likability to him in terms of, his character. But I just feel like, with this new Captain America film not having Steve Rogers, it just begs the question, why not just call it something else? Because it didn't really feel much. Because I feel like it's just without Steve Rogers, there was just stuff that was missing to that. And I'm sure it wouldn't really change a whole lot to the story, but I do feel like, it just have more of a purpose. And of course, this isn't the last time we're going to see him, which is cool. It's nice to know that, they're going to try and do more with him. Maybe in the future, if they do decide to do another Captain America and another Captain America after that, because of course, they're going to try doing everything they can to have you connect. But of course, ultimately, it doesn't always go very well, because when it comes to, its after credit scene, which yes, of course, there is an after credit scene, there's always that one time where, they're going to add something, they're going to try to seem like they're going to add something, but, they don't resolve it until like 10 years later, or they just never resolve it at all. And it was just really hard for me to want to like get in, because it's just gotten to the point where, yeah, I see what you're doing, but I just can't really say I care that much. Because while I appreciate it for trying something different with a new lead and all, I just feel like there was just elements that just kind of kept me from like fully getting that, fun experience that pays off despite it being mostly slow. Like I said, there's certainly enjoyment in this film in terms of its action and its storyline, because it's in there, but it was just really hard for me to dig deep in, because this is an MCU film. And sure, MCU films have dealt with stuff like this before when it comes to investigations and all that, but the way it's handled here, because it's trying to, bring in its new characters and trying to continue on, I just feel like there isn't a whole lot they can really do with this film. Because by the end of it, I was all like, I saw it because it's an MCU film, and I'm determined to see every single MCU film that comes out, even though it's probably not going to be as good as that other film. But yeah, look, I didn't expect this to be like the next Endgame, or the next original Iron Man, or the next film that I'm going to be talking about forever when it comes to, this massive franchise that feels like it's going to go on forever. Like, it's probably going to get to the point where they're just going to release Avengers 25. Because, yeah, there's there's nothing more for me to say here. While it has some good performances, Harrison Ford stole the show for me, there just isn't a whole lot for me to just, kept me, like, fully engaged with its pacing and its storyline and its, trying to, feel a bit more serious, but there wasn't really enough for me to like fully get connected. Honestly, in terms of this new world, I would have much rather have gone back to the old one if they were going to continue with this. This movie will certainly have its audience, but because I'm one of those types of people that's just getting to the point where the whole MCU thing is just getting old at this point, but it's certainly not going to go away, because it's one of the biggest things Disney is focusing on. And of course, it's focusing on live action still. We got that Snow White movie that I know is just going to be completely review bombed when it comes out. Like, I know for a fact it is definitely will, regardless if people see the movie or not. But yeah, I tried getting into it, but this is the reason why in my last video I stated I was more looking forward to Paddington in Peru. And I actually saw that movie first, and obviously I am going to review that film. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and maybe subscribe if you're new, if you want to see more movie reviews. But yeah, you basically get the picture at this point. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.